Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're doing Who Was Better. The topic for this Who Was Better: two trailblazing women, two women that absolutely changed the sport of pro wrestling. We're talking about the anti-diva Paige, aka Saraya, and AJ Lee. Now these two women are connected. They were at one point feuded against each other. One of their matches is highlighted in the movie about Paige's life, so that's why we're connecting them here. Now we're going to grade them. If you haven't seen my videos before, we're grading them on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. We have 8 separate categories. There is a chance to get 5 bonus points. We'll talk about that when we get there. And we're going to break this down. Now, for reference, we are going to grade them with the era that they wrestled. So, in other words, the standards are going to be that of the time frame. It's not fair to grade them against now. It's not fair to grade them against somebody that wrestled in the 70s because it's totally different. That being said, let's jump right into our first category, technical wrestling. This one's easy. I'm giving both women a 4. I think they were pretty good. I wouldn't say either was their top technical wrestler of their time. In the women's division, I would give that to a Gail Kim or a Natalia or even a Mickie James. But they're right up there. They're very good. They're very solid. You can count on them to put on great matches most of the time. That's why they get a 4. Now going for striking, for Paige, I'm going to give Paige a 4. I think her strikes were believable. I think they looked good. I think they were just at that level, a B+ level. That's why she gets a 4. For AJ Lee, I'm giving her a 5. Despite AJ's smaller stature, her strikes looked more convincing. They looked like they were more dangerous. And at sometimes, it helped that she looked smaller than other women. It made it even a little more believable, if that could be understood. So with that, AJ gets a 5. Next up, how they perform as a heel. They're both going to get 3s in this category. I don't think their heel work was bad, but they're both naturally baby faces. They're both wrestlers that the fans want to cheer for. Even in Saraya's run in AEW, when they tried to make her heel, the fans just wanted to cheer the comeback, or they had moved on from her already, the fans that didn't want to cheer for her, which sadly kind of happened. I just think that at their prime, both of these were people that the fans didn't want to see as heels, so their heel runs were not that successful. Next up, how they perform as a babyface. You're probably going to get sick of me saying this through this, but they both get the same score here. They both get a 5. These are two women that I think really helped push women's wrestling, at least in the WWE, into what it is now. It was already there in TNA. TNA's knockout division was light years ahead of WWE's, and at some extent it still is. But these are the two women that I think helped push the WWE into that. And they had fans, and I'll make an example. Like, for instance, myself, I've been a wrestling fan since roughly the end of 1983, beginning of 1984, when I was 6 years old, 7 years old. And my mom says I even watched wrestling before that. I just don't really remember it. I really remember Hogan beating the Sheik. That's one of my first wrestling memories, and Piper and Lita. But I digress. In that time, I've had wrestlers, female wrestlers that I was a fan of: Medusa, aka Alundra Blaze, Lita, Trish Stratus, Chyna. In all that time leading up to this, there was only one other woman that I bought a t-shirt for before these women, and that was Awesome Kong. So that should tell you how impressed I was with both of these women, that I got both a Paige t-shirt and an AJ Lee t-shirt, because I loved them. And I thought they were great, and that's how much of a fan I was of. And that's not being misogynistic. That's not saying, I wouldn't now buy a woman's t-shirt. I would have bought a woman's t-shirt then if they really impressed me and really got into the upper echelon. Chyna was probably the closest. I think the reason I never bought a Chyna shirt was I just don't think any of her shirt designs were cool looking, and that was a big part of that. But anyway, so with saying that, that's why I'm going to say they both get a 5 as baby faces. They connect with people. People love them. What more can I say about them? Now, going to our next category, promos. I'm going to give them both a 4. They both had standout performances in the promo realm, and times when they were the best promo on the women's side of the roster. However, they both also didn't quite get into that top upper echelon. And you could argue maybe AJ Lee did a little bit more than Paige. You could argue maybe Paige had more of a natural connection than AJ Lee did. But for me, I think they're both a 4. I would say of women, I mean, they've both been surpassed by Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch is a much better talker as a woman than both of these women, even though I like both of these women as wrestlers more. I think Charlotte Flair, to an extent, is a better talker than both of these women. Bayley is above these women. Sasha, I would say, is under them. Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, she would be under them, but you get where I'm getting at. These two are at the top of that B tier, in my opinion, but not quite in that A tier. Now we go to presentation. Easy again. Both these women are getting a 5. If I showed you a picture of Paige and it didn't have her head, it was just her body, you would know exactly who she was. If I did the same for AJ Lee, you would know exactly who she was. Even if she was wearing another wrestler's t-shirt, which she did for a lot of her career, you would know by the short shorts and the Converse and the mixed match pants or shorts. You would know exactly who she was. They had identifiable styles that matched them. They had music that worked for them. AJ Lee's song is still instantly noticeable. Paige's as well. I did like Paige's AEW song better, but I'm sort of a fan of Falling in Reverse. I like some of their music, and that's a song that I like of theirs, so made it easy for me to like her song. I think they both were presented exactly how they should be. It worked. Paige as the, I guess you could say, goth girl, and AJ Lee is somewhat the nerdy girl. It worked. They look like the part. They fit perfectly. I could see AJ Lee's at every Comic-Con I would go to. There'd be girls that look like AJ Lee. And vice versa. If I went to like an AFI concert in the 2005s or 2008s, I would see girls in the crowd that looked just like Paige. And actually, little sidetrack here, I know I do these all the time. I went to an Insane Clown Posse concert about 7 years ago now. And I went there and I went with my sister's boyfriend at the time, and they're still together. But we went to the concert and we're standing in the line, and directly in front of us is someone dressed as AJ Lee with the pink and black shorts and the AJ Lee shirt and the wristbands and everything. And I just thought that was amazing. This had already been a couple of years after she had retired, and I kind of asked them, I was like, hey, this is kind of cool, you're dressed as AJ Lee for this. And they were just like, that's my favorite wrestler, I wish you would come back. It was a really cool thing to see that in a different setting. But I digress. Like I said, they both get 5s. Now for charisma, again, they're both getting a 5. I talked about it a bit when we talked about their face runs. They both connect with the fans. They're both easily 2 of the women that the fans cared about the most. 2 of the women that the fans instantly gravitated to. That's why they both get 5s. Now for big game performance, again, I'm giving them both a 5 here. And I understand most of the times I have different scores for a lot of these people, and there's only one category in this that I scored them differently. These women are so evenly matched that it was so hard to judge them. But for big game, when they were put in the biggest roles, when they were given the ball, you gotta remember, these were the sink or swim women. If these women didn't thrive, the 4 horsewomen would not have been as successful. The Asukas of the world wouldn't have been as successful. The Alexa Blisses, Bianca Belairs, Rhea Ripley's, everybody that came after them had to stand on their shoulders, and they had to prove, they had to go out there and show and prove and show everybody what it was about to usher in that new generation. So again, they both get 5s here. Now totaling this up, for Paige, I'm giving Paige a 35. For AJ Lee, she gets a total of 36. But wait, here's where that bonus comes in. Every Wednesday, I put on my posts page here on YouTube a poll basically asking you guys who was better. Whoever gets the most votes gets 5 bonus points. The winner of that, AJ Lee. Giving her a total of 41, giving her the overall win. Like I said, these women were very equal in my opinion, and it could have went either way. They're very similar, they're very much of the same generation and of the same skills. They both had several years that they took off, one for injury, the other for injuries and other reasons. But like I said, ultimately AJ Lee picked up the win here. Very deserving. Both of these women deserve it. Both these women deserve all the flowers that are thrown their way, all the accolades, all the respect that they could get. Like I said, 2 groundbreaking women, just amazing in my opinion. Now pay attention, keep looking at the post page. I might change the date because I'm tinkering about moving the days where I release these videos. Normally I release this on a Monday or Tuesday. I might change that because I've been doing Monday Night Raw reviews and I kind of want to spread my content out during the week, hopefully to get more views on it. So pay attention to the post page, keep checking there. If for nothing else, check out the the Today in Wrestling History, where I put a little anecdote of wrestling history from that day on there every day, which I hope you guys like. I see that there's a lot of likes to it, so I enjoy doing that too. With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and you've been watching Who Was Better.